by the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance to the Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. 6. To give some interpretations to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit simple activities on the strength of the holy name. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruity activities, Karma Kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10. To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. 10. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank you everyone. The Bhakti Sangha Conference. I thank you everyone for joining the Bhakti Sangha Conference call today. Let us move to our next section, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May I know who all joined the class today. Hare Krishna, and with happy Sankranti to everyone whoever celebrating today and yesterday. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, Radha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Radha Pyari Mataji, your voice Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajis. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Ram.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvas Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all the assembled devotees, all glories to all Guru Maharajas. This is Shiromani Nandarani Devidasi from Qatar. Happy Sankranti to you and everyone, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Shiromani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving your association. Happy Sankranti. You too, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. I offer my obeisances to all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Shawan from West Bengal.
Hare Krishna and Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining the call and giving your association. Hare Krishna. Happy Sankranti, Prabhuji.
Happy Sankranti Mataji.
Is there anybody else that would like to introduce?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj. This is Shama Guri Devidasi.
Hare Krishna, Shyamagari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, can't wait to see you, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Hare
I
Krishna.
will meet you, Mataji, finally.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to meet you.
Yes, Mataji. Thanks.
Where are you, Radha Mataji?
Today I'm in NC, Mataji.
Oh, okay.
Near Charlotte only, Mataji.
Oh, very nice, Mataji. So you both are going to meet. So send
Yes,
us a picture.
Finally.
Very nice. I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm too excited, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, same here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call and giving your association. Hare Krishna. Happy Sankranti, Mataji.
Happy Sankranti to you too, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are fortunate to have His Grace Akincana Krishna Prabhuji to enlightening us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto 7th chapter verse 16 to 21. First, I would like to hand over call to in Prabhuji for brief introduction of Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. I would like to hand over call to Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, from a business to all the assembled devotees, and happy Sanskriti to all the assembled devotees. Today we have, here is a brief introduction for our today's speaker, Akincana Krishna Das Prabhu. Akincana Krishna Das hails from Mumbai. He dedicated full time to monastic services brahmacharya in ISKCON in the year 1999. He had a short stint working in the industry for 2 years in Blue Star Limited and PC Soft Pvt. Ltd. After completing his graduation in electronics and telecom engineering and post-graduation in business management. So he served as value educator in schools, Gita for college youths, and gives seminars for corporate young professionals on stress and time management. Gita Principles for a Satisfying Life and motivational seminars for the youths in ISKCON Chowpatty's Prerana Youth Festival. He is a regular Srimad Bhagavatam speaker in ISKCON Girgaon Chowpatty. He has been taking weekly spiritual discourses for devotee communities in Panvel, Kharghar, and Seawoods, South Mumbai. He also organizes 2-month spiritual trips and talks for the British sabbatical youths from the Bhaktivedanta Manor every year. Hare Krishna Mataji, please take over the
Thank
call.
you so much, Prabhuji. I didn't see Prabhuji, not yet join.
Prabhuji join Mataji.
Join Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for giving your valuable time and association to us this morning and enlightening on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. I would like to hand over call to Prabhuji. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call. Happy Sankranti, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for inviting me for this service. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruh Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa sindhobhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are discussing, I was told, from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, text number 7, chapter number 7, verse 16. Yes, am I right?
Yes,
Yes.
Prabhu.
Okay. Evam chintayatastasya maghono bhagavan gridhat brahaspatirgato drishtam gatim adhyatma mayaya. Translation. While Indra, the king of the demigods, thought in this way and repented in his own assembly, Brihaspati, the most powerful spiritual master, understood his mind. Thus he became invisible to Indra and left home, for Brihaspati was spiritually more powerful than King Indra. Gurunadigatah sangyam parikshan bhagavan swarat dhyayan dhiya surairyuktah sharmana labhatatmanah. Although Indra, searching vigorously with the assistance of the other demigods, he could not find Brihaspati, then Indra thought, alas, my spiritual master has become dissatisfied with me, and now I have no means of achieving good fortune. Although Indra was surrounded by demigods, he could not find peace of mind. Tachritvaya Vasura Sarva Ashrityaushana Sammatam Devan Pratyudyamam Chakrur Durmada Atatayinaha. Hearing of the pitiable condition of King Indra, the demons, following the instructions of their guru, Shukracharya, equipped themselves with weapons and declared war against the demigods. Their Visrishte Shubhis Tikshnair Nirbhinnangorubhahavah Brahmanam Sharanam Jagmuhu Sahendra Natakandharaha. The demigods' heads, thighs, and arms, and the other parts of their bodies were injured by the sharp arrows of the demons. The demigods, headed by Indra, saw no other course than to immediately approach Lord Brahma with bowed heads for shelter and proper instructions. Tams tathabhyarditan vikshya bhagavan atmabhur ajah kripaya paraya deva uvacha parisantvayan. When the most powerful Lord Brahma saw the demigods coming towards him, their bodies gravely injured by the arrows of the demons, he pacified them by his great causeless mercy and spoke as follows. Shri Brahmo Vacha Aho Batasura Shrishta Yabhadram Vaha Kritam Mahat Brahmishtam Brahmanam Dantam Aishwaryanabhyanandata. Lord Brahma said, O best of the demigods, unfortunately, because of madness resulting from your material opulence, you failed to receive Brihaspati properly when he came to your assembly. Because he is aware of the supreme Brahman and fully in control of his senses. He is the best of the Brahmanas. Therefore, it is very astonishing that you have acted impudently towards him. Purport. Lord Brahma recognized the Brahminical qualifications of Brihaspati, who was the spiritual master of the demigods, Because of his awareness of the Supreme Brahman, Brihaspati was very much in control of his senses and mind, and therefore he was a most qualified Brahmin. Lord Brahma chastised the demigods for not properly respecting this Brahmin, who was their guru. Lord Brahma wanted to impress upon the demigods that one's guru should not be disrespected under any circumstances. When Brihaspati entered the assembly of the demigods, they and their king Indra took him for granted. Since he came every day, they thought that they did not need to show him special respect. As it is said, familiarity breeds contempt. Being very much displeased, Brihaspati immediately left Indra's palace. Thus all the demigods headed by Indra became offenders at the lotus feet of Brihaspati. And Lord Brahma, being aware of this, condemned their neglect. In a song we sing every day, Narottam Das Thakur says, Chakshudan dilo yei, janme janme prabhu sai. The Guru gives spiritual insight to the disciple, and therefore the Guru should be considered his master life after life. Under no circumstances should the Guru be disrespected, but the demigods, being puffed up by their material possessions, were disrespectful to their Guru. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam 11.17.27 advises, Acharyam mam vijaniyan naba manyeta karhichit namatya buddhyasuyeta sarva devo mayo guru. The Acharya should always be offered respectful obeisances. One should never envy the Acharya, considering him an ordinary human being. Hare Krishna. So, as we can see here that the storyline that Indra was sitting in his assembly hall on his throne, sharing the throne with his wife Shachi, and being worshipped by all the lesser gods. He had an umbrella over his head which was shimmering like millions of moons. All the opulences of Brahma has been described. Of Indra has been described. And then his spiritual master, who regularly comes into the assembly hall, happens to come there as usual. And Indra, he, because of an oversight, and as it is explained here, because he was puffed up, he became proud of all that worship which he was receiving, failed to confer proper respect to his guru, Brihaspati. And even so, that means that he just didn't budge, he didn't offer a seat, neither did he get up or acknowledge Brihaspati's presence. In a way, a very slight transgression, in etiquette, but it is considered a great offense. So we can see here that Vaishnava etiquette can cause serious consequences. So we have to be very careful in our etiquettes. Everything what we do conveys a message. And just that he didn't acknowledge his guru's presence, did not get up from his seat, and did not offer him some sweet words welcoming him, was considered as a great disrespect. And Brihaspati, understanding the mind of Indra, understanding that he became puffed up, he left. He did not curse him, he did not ridicule him, did not try to correct him, but he just, using his spiritual energy, his powers, he just vanished. So much so that even the demigods could not find him after searching for with a lot of effort. They couldn't find him. And then they finally, as a result of that offense, they became unhappy. Indra became upset. He realized his mistake. Fortunately, because he's a god and he's also a devotee, by Krishna's grace, he could get that intelligence that, oh, I made a mistake. And then, but it was too late, and at that time already Brihaspati had left and was nowhere to be found. So as a result of that, they lost their power. The result of that offense, you see what happens as a result of offense to great souls. is that you lose your powers. And what happens? And then you become weak, and then you become vulnerable. And then enemies attacked, the demons attacked, and the enemies became powerful on the same principle, because they worship their guru, Shukracharya, and they got powers, powerful, and then they attacked Indra, and all the gods were defeated. And now they are going to Brahma to seek his help and advice as to what should be the course of action. How can we come out of? He was remorseful. He was lamenting that, oh, he has made a mistake. Indra, even before he approached Brahma, he knew that he had done a mistake. So he wanted now advice as to what would be his future course of action. Yes, so now the question is that what can we learn from this? And we can see that this is trouble in paradise. Yes, there is trouble in paradise, as they say in English, the saying. Obviously, Indra is a king of paradise, yes, heaven, whatever you may call it. And now the heavens are glorified by materialistic people, isn't it? We say that, Are Swargvasi ho gaya. At least in India, when people say pass away, there's a common term that they use. Oh, he has become a Swargvasi. Common materialistic karmakandi people, they say that, oh, he has done so much of piety that he has attained heaven. Swargvasi, he's become the resident of heaven now. And commonly, those who are not in the circle of devotion, bhakti, cult, mostly people are with this in understanding that heaven is the supreme destination, and heaven is the place that we should be striving for. Do punya so that we can attain heaven. But here we can see that that is not the case. And a person having paradise as the goal of all the austerities that they're doing will not be happy even after having attained heaven. Why? Because the king of heaven, Indra, is also not happy. If the king of heaven is not happy, how can his dependents be happy? So you see, there's trouble in paradise. So don't aspire to go to heaven. And you see how Prabhupada has taught us so wonderfully that don't aspire to go to heaven. And there's another verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. If I may present this screen here, you can see this verse from the 11th canto, 3rd chapter, 19th verse. Nityardi ten dena vittena durlabhenatma mrityuna graha patyapta pashubihi ka pritihi sadhetais chalai. That wealth is a perpetual source of distress, and it is most difficult to acquire, and it is virtual death for the soul. What satisfaction does one actually gain from his wealth? Similarly, how can one gain ultimate or permanent happiness from one's so-called home, children, relatives, and domestic animals, which are all maintained by one's hard-earned money? So, attaining heaven means attaining all these things. Naturally, you become very opulent. But will that make you happy? No, it won't. In fact, here it is said, wealth is a perpetual source of distress. Therefore, it is said, artho anartha. Artha, Bhagavatam says, 7th canto, artho anartha. That artha is actually an anartha. So, here we can see that. It is the most difficult to acquire. Wealth is a perpetual source of distress. It is most difficult to acquire. And it is virtual death for the soul. Strong words, okay? These are not my words. These are Srimad Bhagavatam words. So virtual death for the soul. So what satisfaction does one actually gain from his wealth? Okay, see the next verse now. in this verse. I'll directly read the translation. All right. Yeah, this is from the 11th canto, 3rd chapter, 20th verse. One cannot find permanent happiness even on the heavenly planets, which one can attain in the next life by ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifices. Even in material heaven, the living entity is disturbed by rivalry with his equals and envy of those superior to him. And since one's residence in heaven is finished with the exhaustion of pious fruitive activities, the denizens of heaven are afflicted by fear, anticipating the destruction of their heavenly life. Thus they resemble kings who, though enviously admired by ordinary citizens, are constantly harassed by enemy kings and who therefore never attain actual happiness. Yeah, it's noteworthy to see that how, see this, Thus they resemble kings who, though enviously admired, all those people, especially kings and famous personalities and YouTubers and all. I mean, do you think that people really admire them? No, they are enviously admired. People don't love you just because you're famous. So ultimately, even behind the admiration, there is only envy. That why are you famous? Why am I not famous? Why are you there in that position of control and power? Why am I not there? So you are not really an object of love for people. So admired by ordinary citizens, are constantly harassed by enemy kings and who therefore never attain actual happiness. So even in heaven, there is no happiness. The fundamental principle behind that is that desire to enjoy. And that is what is behind karma kanda. Because in karma kanda, even though you are very, very pious, you are in sattva guna, but still the desire to enjoy is not gone. But still that misidentification of who I am, the spirit soul, which is meant to be a servant of Krishna, which is actually a servant of Krishna and meant to serve Krishna, that understanding is not there. And as a result of that, he is always misplaced. He's not situated in his constitutional position. And therefore you see that he never attains peace. Never attains peace. So therefore, unless one gives up the desire to enjoy, unless one does not recognize that he is actually an insignificant servant of Krishna, all glory belongs to Krishna, and my duty is simply to serve Krishna, he cannot attain peace of mind. No matter how pious a person is, no matter how wealthy or rich a person is. Yes. And there are so many verses. I can tell you one more verse which says, Evam lokam param vidyan. Was it the same one? Let me see. Yeah, same one. Yes. Right. So anyway, I've covered it already. So now the question is that one of the, out of all the opulences, you see that all the 6 opulences that we talk about, fame, strength, knowledge, beauty, renunciation, and wealth. So it is agreed by the acharyas that out of all these opulences, that opulence which really contributes to your ego, all of them do, but the particular opulence which contributes to your false ego is wealth. And out of the rest, fame is something which is not very highly regarded, even though it is an opulence, but it is lowest on the scale. Yes, so wealth is something which can really affect you, your mind, and fame is something which really, even materialistic people, they do not really who are really intelligent, intelligent materialistic people, they don't mind wealth and they don't mind other things, but they will be low-key. They would like to play. Now, because of Kali Yuga, people are not realizing that fame does not really give you much benefit. It only gives you a lot of disadvantages. You just make more enemies, that's all. So people therefore don't mind earning money, but they like to be on the back. They will not show that how they don't want to be famous. But today, Kali Yuga, everything is opposite. People don't even realize that. Anyway, so Acharya has explained like that. So why is wealth considered to be like that? Why is it so notorious? That's because when you have wealth, you can somehow or another manage to gain other opulences also. Like if you have wealth, then you also become famous. You can also, get knowledge. You can pay for your education and how even ugliest people, they can go to such makeups and plastic surgeries and whatnot, but they also start looking beautiful. Yes, so then naturally they are strong, powerful, because they have a lot of influence. So it gives you a lot of control. Wealth gives you a lot of control, and it gives you everything else, and therefore it is considered to be very powerful wealth. And what happens as a result of that? It contributes to your false ego. And I've seen in my personal life, I've seen that. I've preached in South Mumbai also, and I preach in the villages also. Navi Mumbai is like very simple people. The more you go towards Navi Mumbai, further away towards Panvel, find very simple people. And I've seen the children also. The children of these simple people, not very wealthy people. South Mumbai has got a lot of wealthy people. There's a lot of difference. Like recently, I was, very close to the temple. I was invited by one lady. She was having some family issues and all that. So she said that if we have some Hare Krishna programs at our house, it will help out. Maybe my husband will change, my children will change and all that. I said, okay. So one other brahmachari was catering to her needs, spiritual needs. But he was out of station. So he told me if I can go for that program. So, all right. So she said, come in the morning at around 8:30. So I went. So they were taking breakfast. And so it was a daughter's birthday, that lady's daughter's birthday. So I went and so they offered me some breakfast. I said, no, I will not take breakfast, but I'll just do the kirtan. So where's your daughter? Call her. So she's not coming out only. Daughter is not coming out. I don't know what happened. So anyway, she was not coming out. Somehow or another, I think she went inside and she told her daughter, come out. And she came out. She sat. Before that, she cut the cake and all. She offered it to everybody a little bit. Again, she went inside. Then again, after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we sat. And then again, she went to call her daughter. And then again, she came out. And then she sat on the sofa, and mother was also sitting. And then she said, okay, Prabhuji, if you can do kirtan and then give a message. So I said, okay. So then I started kirtan. 5-10 minutes we did kirtan. Father sat for some time. Daughter was sitting like that. Okay. And then after the kirtan, no sooner did I keep the mridanga, she got up and she left into her room. So then I obviously understood that she's not so much happy that we are there. So I asked Mataji that what happened. She's not so much interested. No, she's having her mood swings, I think. Mood swings. So, I could make out because, generally when you go to, they have a very huge house living in South Mumbai and a huge veranda overlooking the ocean, the Marine Drive ocean, very beautiful. tall building and very, very wealthy industrialist, and naturally, so I could see the difference, how the children behave. And if you go to Mumbai, if you like Navi Mumbai side, then you go to someone's house. If you go to some, as a guest, then all the members of the family will be outside. They will receive you. They'll sit you down. Nobody will be having their TVs on. I remember even in my house, my father used to say that if a guest comes, you should switch off the TV. Be there, attending to the guest, give a smile, offer them something to drink. And my father would be very angry if you don't receive the guest, because Atithi Seva, is very important for a Grasta. Yes. Krishna consciousness is not compulsory. I mean, it is not that, you have to become a devotee. Krishna does not enforce upon anyone. इसलिए हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना कि जबरदस्त फिलॉसफी है, गीता का फिलॉसफी जबरदस्त फिलॉसफी है, पर किसी पर जबरदस्ती नहीं है. But still, if there is somebody in the house, he's a guest. Is it not? He's a guest. And naturally, how will you respond? You will respond by being there, speaking some kind words, giving them something to drink, and that way. That is most important. The heart is most important. You may even offer all these things, but if you are not happy at the arrival of the guest, especially if you have invited somebody, then it is not a very high class. It is not civilized. It's considered very actually offensive, because with love, if you offer even like, when Krishna goes to the house of Shrutadev and Bahulashva, one was a king and one was a simple Brahmin. Even though the king had offered all the big opulences, and that simple poor Brahmin was also offering Krishna very meager things like a chatai to sit on the floor, and all the rishis were there with Krishna. But he didn't have much to offer the Lord. But still, whatever he offered it with his heart. And Krishna was so happy with that. He didn't make any distinctions. He didn't say, "Arey, where are you making me sit on the floor?" No. So Krishna appreciated the offerings made by Shrutadev, and he appreciated equally the offerings made by Bahulashva. One was a king, one was a poor Brahmin. Definitely the king can make better offerings, but Krishna saw the heart. And the most important thing in any of offering is the love and devotion, the respect. So naturally I saw the difference that, especially in simple people, those who are not very wealthy, somehow they tend to be more respectful. They know culture. I don't know how. See the irony of life. The irony of life. You expect that somebody having more wealth will be more humble, more simple, but it is just the opposite. It is just the opposite. And that's why you see, even in that episode of Nalakoyer Manigriv, when Narad Muni was passing by and they were bathing naked in the Mandakini river along with their wives, and they was drunk, and they saw Narada and they did not offer respects to him. How did they not offer respects? That means they continued to remain naked. What were they supposed to do? Follow the etiquettes, dress themselves. You're in front of a great saint. Better you dress yourself, cover yourself. And their wives had that much sense that they put on their clothes when they saw Narada. But those people were drunk, Nalakoyer and Manigriv. And they continued, and then Narada, he contemplated the disadvantages of wealth. And he said that I will curse them and I'll make them poverty-stricken. I'll make them into trees. And then he spoke about the advantages of being poor. There are definite advantages of being poor. What are the advantages? In that section, it is explained that one advantage is that poor people have this quality of receiving great souls and guests. They somehow, we see also today that wealthy people will not come for satsangs. They don't like to share space with others. Many times even wealthy people, they'll call the preachers to their home. They will not come for the satsang program and sit with tens of people. They will not. They will call the preachers to their home and their family will be sitting and you'll have to do a program for them. They want special programs, special everything. That also for those select few who happen to be Krishna conscious, who have some sentiments for dharma. I'm talking about those. Even they don't. Very rarely, and that also when they come, there will be special garland, special seat, and special announcements and all those things for them. They don't. That they and their family will not come and sit and share that audience. Rare to find, very, very rare. But you see, simple people will just come and sit anywhere and they are very eager to serve and they have no apprehensions. Yes, so therefore Narada, he saw that these people, they are so puffed up, they are Nalakuir Manigrief, they are the sons of the treasurer of the gods. Yes, they are Kuver's sons. And naturally, they have all the wealth and opulences. And what happens as a result? This is what happens. That's one disadvantage, that they cannot get guidance. They are not respectful to great souls. They're not open to bhakti and instructions. One thing. Secondly, because they have a lot of wealth, they cannot perform austerities. They overindulge. And what do you do with money? What do you do with extra money? What will you do? How much can you eat? And then what happens? Then you'll overeat, or you'll eat too rich foods and get sick. In Greek, there is something called as vomitorium. Have you heard of that? Vomitorium or something like that. It's like a jar which they have, where these kings would eat as much as they want, and then their stomachs are full, and then they'll vomit in that. So they empty their stomachs so that they can eat more. What an artificial way of enjoying. So what happens is eventually that much wealth leads to health issues, it leads to overindulgence, meat eating, and other sins like drinking and all those things. Extravagance, which is quite unnecessary. You lose the capacity to do austerities. Naturally, if you have to come for a satsang and sit down, and it's difficult, or sit for 1 hour, you have no patience. You can't sit for an hour. Maybe the mosquitoes are biting and I can't do this. So you have to be austere, isn't it? Isn't that what Krishna is telling Arjun? Idam te na tapaskaya na abhaktaya kadachana nacha shushrave vachyam nacha mam yubhya suyati. Krishna says to Arjun that don't give the knowledge of the Gita to those who are not austere. Idam te na tapaskaya na abhaktaya kadachana. Never give this Gita message, never share this message with a non-devotee. Or na idam te na tapaskaya, those who have not performed austerities. Nacha shushrushrave vachyam, and even though he may be a devotee, but if he's not right now in the mood to listen, then you should not speak to him about Gita. And mam yobhya suyati, and one who's envious of me. Don't speak, don't share. So you see, when wealth comes, then this is what happens also. And then what you'll do, you'll feel, okay, so much of money, I'll leave it to my children. And then what happens? They get spoiled. The child knows that there's money my parents have earned, and then naturally you lose that will to work and stand on your own feet. And they don't realize the value of money. They don't realize empathy. So all those things happen. So a poor person naturally is austere because he doesn't get much to eat. He will eat less. Then he will be mitabhuk naturally. His sense of tongue eating will be controlled. He naturally becomes dependent on others. Humility comes naturally because he can't do much without help of others. He looks up to others. And naturally, because he can't get much to eat. His senses are very subdued, because when you overeat, you get more strength, and then naturally then you become over smart. Like you might have seen when you are observing Ekadashi, you don't feel very enthusiastic, isn't it? You feel very subdued. Senses are very subdued. Maya affects you less when you are fasting. So naturally, poor people, they are fasting, most of the time, because they don't get enough to eat. So their senses become subdued. So Narada, in that episode of Nalko and Manigriv, is speaking about the glories of being poverty stricken. And he says that is a good medicine for these people who are puffed up with their wealth. And therefore, he curses them to become trees. Because naturally, see, they would have become trees because of their karma. They would have anyways become trees because they were roaming around naked and all those things. But by Narada's curse, they became trees, and not just that, but they got the benefit of getting the mercy of Krishna. So, their process of liberation or their redemption was expedited by the grace of Narada. They got mercy that way. So here we can see the same principle, that Indra, being puffed up, for a moment he disrespected his guru, and that was a very, very great blunder. That led to a great blunder. And that is one of the reasons why also we should not be worshipping demigods. You see, like we can see this problem in Indra. If the head of the demigods, they have these problems, then what to speak of others? Of course, there are exceptions, like Vayu is a pure devotee, being a demigod. Therefore, we worship Vayu, because he is Hanuman, he is Madhvacharya, he is Bhim. He is a pure devotee. But still, in general, we respect the gods, we don't worship them. We worship the gods, we respect the gods, but we worship Krishna. And we don't aspire to go to heaven. That's one of the reasons. Yes, so what happened as a result of his offense? He became overpowered by the demons. You know the story of that Punar Mushika Bhava. This mouse comes to one sage and says that I am being harassed by these cats. Please bless me. So the sage thought, what do you want? So he says, I want to become a cat because I'm harassed by them. So I'll become a cat. So the sage said, all right, tatastu. So he became a cat. After a few days, he came back and he told the sadhu that I'm still not happy because now I'm being chased by the dog. So he said, okay, what do you want? So he said, I want to become a dog. So the sage says, all right, tathastu. He becomes a dog. Again, few days later, he comes to the sage and he says, I'm still not happy because now, the tigers and the cheetahs, they come from the forest and they harass us. Many of our dogs get killed. I don't want to be a dog. I want to be a lion. I want to be like a tiger. So the sage thought, all right, so be it. And he blesses him, tathastu, and he becomes a tiger. And then that tiger, he started looking at the sage and started growling. He wanted to eat the sage. So the sage understood. And he cursed him, saying that, Punar Mushika Bhava. Again become a rat, a mouse. Punar Mushika Bhava. And then zap, and then he's again. So, this story, Prabhupada says, I've heard it, a devotee say this, that when you become rebellious towards the very people who helped you in Krishna consciousness, especially your guru, then what happens? You're reduced to what you were. Punar Mushika Bhava. We again become what? A mouse. We have no qualifications on our own. Whatever qualifications we have, it's only by the grace. Grace of the Gurujans. Grace of the Lord. And we should never forget it. Never, never forget it. Whatever we have. And if we become rebellious and we commit offenses like this, then we will lose everything that we have gained. Everything. So therefore it is said in the scriptures that offenses leads to depletion of your lifespan, of your wealth. All these things are lost if you offend great souls, especially your Guru. If you please your Guru, the Lord is pleased. If you displease your Guru, the Lord is displeased. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, yasya aprasadat nagati kutopi. Therefore, in the 11th canto, there is a verse which says that Naradeham adyam sulabham sudurlabham plavam sukalpam guru karnadharam mayanukulena nabhasvateritam puman bhavabdim nataret sa atmana. Naradeham adyam sulabham sudurlabham. That this human body, Naradeham adyam, it is a source of all what? Good facilities. That means it is capable, very capable. Naradeham adyam, sulabham. And we forgot that how we attained it. It's so easily now we have it with us. We have attained it somehow. Sulabham. But sudurlabham. It is very rare to get a human form of life. Scriptures say that we have to travel through 84 lakh species of life before we get a human form. 400,000 human forms. Yes. These are not physical shapes we are talking about. We are talking about states of consciousness. So we have gone through many, many lives. We have changed many bodies, lower forms, to finally attain a human form. So therefore, sudurlabham. And plavam sukalpam. Now this body is compared to a boat. Plavam. Sukalpam. That means very suitable. For what? For crossing an ocean. But why do you need a ship? To cross the ocean. So, plavam sukalpam guru karnadharam. And in this ship, who is the captain? So, karnadharam is the captain, the one who steers the ship. So, guru karnadharam. Yes. And mayanukulena nabhasvateritam. And Krishna is saying in this 11th canto, he's saying that maya anukulena. Maya means my instructions. That means the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, Srimad Bhagavatam. Maya anukulena nabhasvateritam. These are like the favorable winds which take the boat into the ocean and to its destination. In the previous ages, they didn't have motorboats. They didn't have diesel boats or petrol engines. They were moving with wind power. So, said, Mayanukulena navasvateritam puman bhavabdhim natarit. And one who does not take advantage of this human form of life. That means one who does not accept Guru Karnadharam, and one who does not take advantage of those favorable winds of the instructions of the Lord by reading Gita and by Bhagavatam and by living one's life according to the instructions of Guru, then Puman Bhavabdhim na taret. And if he does not cross over, if he doesn't tarjana, we call it tarjana. If he doesn't cross, then what happens? Sa Atmaha. He is actually a man who performs Atmahatya. Atmaha. Commits spiritual suicide. Even though he may be living, but he's dead for all spiritual purposes. Atmaha. So the role of Guru is very important, very, very important. But still, therefore, we see here that there are cases whereby a person or a disciple may give up his Guru, but that is only in special cases if the Guru has fallen down or deviated. Like, for example, Shukracharya himself, you see, I mean, when he was trying to instruct Bali Maharaj to not give charity to Vaman Dev. So at that time, he deviated from spiritual principles. At that time, Bali Maharaj, very respectfully, that also very respectfully, without exchange of harshness, he said that, no, I cannot follow your instructions, forgive me. And he went on to give that charity and pleased Lord Vaman Dev, Lord Vishnu. There are cases where one can give up one's Guru, definitely, but not when your Guru is in good standing. Not when your Guru is in good standing. And therefore here, when they go to Brahma, Brahma understood that Brihaspati was a bona fide Guru. And therefore he chastised Indra that how come such mistake was committed by you, that you have rejected a bona fide Guru. You became envious of your Guru. You were trying to hog the limelight, as they say. You know, hogging the limelight, like when somebody is being glorified, and at that time you don't want to share that glory with others. It's called as hogging the limelight. You want to be noticed. You don't want others to be noticed that way. So yeah, so therefore, so now what is the solution? Well, in the 7th canto, 15th chapter, there's a very nice verse. It says, Asankalpa jayet kamam krodham kama vivarjanat artha narthik shaya lobham bhayam tattva vimarshanat. Asankalpa jayet kamam. So by making resolutions, like now we entered into a new year, some people make resolutions and they stick to it. So that is the way. Like we have made a resolve not to eat grains on Ekadashi. So once you make the resolution, then even though we are fasting on Ekadashi and somebody shows some nice biryani prasad, we are not tempted to eat it. Is it not? We know we have made the resolve and we are not going to eat grains on Ekadashi. So similarly, all kama, all materialistic desires can be given up by making proper resolutions. That's what Prahlad Maharaj is saying. Asankalpaj jayed kama. That's how you give up kama, lust, selfishness. Resolve not to be selfish in this way. Small steps, not very big steps, but okay, this is what I will do. Okay, if I see somebody, I will be the first one to say Hare Krishna. Okay, I will be the first one to say bow down. I will approach this devotee. That way I will overcome my ego, that kind of thing. So small resolutions. Okay, this is what I will do. This is what I will do. This is what I will do. So asankalpa jayet kamam krodham kama vivarjanat. And how do you give up anger? By giving up kama, by giving up selfishness. Because krodh is nothing but the younger brother of kam. When you have kam, then you get krodh. Selfishness leads to anger. Artha narthik shaya lobham. And how do you become free from the anartha or the greed, lobham? Yes, by dwelling on the anarthas of artha. Artha narthik shaya lobham. That way. So contemplate. See, like just now we read about how wealth doesn't give you happiness. Even kings, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. We have heard that. So when you know that money cannot make you happy, these are the words of the scriptures. You feel motivated, to, okay, why am I working so hard that I'm compromising my sadhana and my, satsang programs and my, whatever, association. Okay, put a stop. That's enough. I'll keep my office closed, or my business closed on Saturday and Sunday. I'll come for satsang. I'll do some seva. It inspires you, when you hear about these things, that I'm going overboard. It's not wrong to be ambitious, but there's a limit. Otherwise, you go into into that zone of greed. There's a thin line between being ambitious and being greedy. How do you know that line? By hearing. Artha narthik shaya lobham. So therefore, to hear about the anarthas of artha and bhayam tattva vimarshanat. And how do you overcome fear? You overcome fear by tattva vimarshanat, by absorbing yourself in tattva. When you read scriptures, learning about the spirit, the difference between matter and spirit, knowing who we are, the spirit soul, Atma, tattva vimarshanat. So we can overcome fear by reading scriptures. We can overcome greed by dwelling on the demerits of wealth. We can give up our anger by giving up kama, selfishness. And we can give up selfishness by making resolutions given by being instructed by the Guru. Yes. And in the next verse also, Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Anvikshikya shokamoho dambham mahadupasaya yogantarena maunena himsam kamadi anihaya. So Anvikshikya shokamoho. So again, deliberation. How do you become free from shok and moha? Hankering and lamentation. Shok and moha. How do you become free from that? Anvikshikya. By, again, contemplation of the difference between matter and spirit. Therefore, when somebody passes away, we read the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because there it explains the difference between matter and spirit. Krishna is telling Arjuna, soul is immortal. A person who laments, mostly they don't understand this difference, that the soul is undying, eternal. So therefore, anvikshikya shokamoho dambham mahadupasaya. How can you become free from false ego? So, dambham mahad upasaya. Serve great devotees. If you get an opportunity to serve great devotees, mahat upasaya, great devotees, then what happens? You become humble. Yogantarena maunena. And how do you advance in yoga? The practice of bhakti, maunena, by keeping your mouth shut. That means not speaking material things. Maunena means not speaking, but in Krishna consciousness, maunena means to not speak material things. You can definitely speak spiritual katha, Krishna katha. That is also maunena. So by keeping quiet or speaking just spiritual subject matters, we can overcome the obstacles on the path of yoga. Yogantarayan maunena and himsam kamadi anihaya. And how can you give up violence? By giving up kama, by giving up lust. Himsam kamadi anihaya. So yogantarayan maunena himsam kamadi anihaya. So these are some solutions Bhagavatam speaks about, 7th canto, very nice verse, 7, 15, 22 and 23. Solutions, practical solutions for becoming free from these anarthas, practical steps. So here we can see that Indra has lost his opulences. He's reduced to a very despicable position. And we can understand that even in our lives, if there's something seriously wrong going on, if you're not happy, or all such wretched situations arise in our life, we have to take a stock that maybe I am not being faithful to my Guru and to the community of devotees. Because if you're a devotee, you will be happy. There's no reason to be upset. Right? And a devotee will always respect his Guru. So here we can see Indra being a god, he's not having peace of mind. So do we have peace of mind? Are we happy? Are we in bliss? Otherwise, what kind of devotee are we? If we say that we are a devotee and we are not happy, that is incompatible. A devotee cannot be miserable. That's not possible. So therefore, we have to take our instructions, the instructions of our Guru seriously. We have to take every opportunity to serve our Gurus, Diksha Gurus, Shiksha Gurus, all of them. And in general, the Vaishnava community. Should try to be respectful to them and serve them. That is the path of liberation. Service to others, humility. Amanitvam, adambitvam. Krishna speaks about humility. The first quality that sadhaka needs to advance in Krishna consciousness is humility. Humility means that he doesn't want to be in the spotlight. Puja labh pratishtha shukare ravishtha. He may speak when he is called for. Of course, devotees who speak and who sometimes have to be in the frontline services, they may do it because they are called for. One shouldn't be eager to do these services which are very prominent or gain attention of others. One should try to avoid it. But if called for, then if Guru says that you should do this service, then he may. So there is no self-interest in that. He's doing it for others. He's doing it as a service. That's why I just said, shine. But shine to show the path, but not to be seen. Like a candle, it shines, but it is burning itself up to show light and show the path for others. So if we do have to shine, let it be to show the path to others. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Okay, so it's 6:50. Time's up. And if anybody has any questions, we can take it right now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the beautiful class.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I'm requesting devotees, if anybody have any questions, please go ahead. Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, thank you so much. Dandavat pranam to you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat pranam to you. Prabhuji, I have.
Are you all able to see her? Because I can't see who's asking the question.
Yeah, I'm not able to.
Nice.
Is it okay if I ask you a question without?
It will be better if you could also reveal yourself, is it not?
I'm not in that.
It'll be more personal, isn't it? Whom am I speaking to? A voice in the sky. I mean, it's free of charge if you switch on your video. It doesn't charge actually.
No fight, Prabhuji. Please don't consider me that great. I just want a few answers from you. You made one statement, right? Just a minute. You made a statement, right? That you offer by heart. Say, when the Lord enters to the king's house, and when he goes to a devotee or someone who is very humble. So how one will understand that one is offering from the heart and one is not offering from the heart? Because one can be very duplicit, I mean, in serving. How to understand?
Like when you eat, who tells you that your stomach is full, you should stop eating?
I have that feeling.
Yeah, so you don't know what's going on in your heart. You know, everybody knows what is your motive. So if you do something for someone, you can see for yourself, you know it, you get the feeling, you can understand, you can peep into your heart and see what's there, what's your motive. Take a time to just step back and reflect. Yes?
Yes, Prabhuji, and there is a concept of curse also you spoke about. So, Naradji is really a great devotee. I mean, he is a Mahajana, right? So the Mahajana doesn't curse out of way. He does for the good of others. But in our day-to-day life, I have seen people cursing other people, but out of their own motives. So, uh, how you look that into? I mean, how we should look into it, because that happens in front of us.
There are three kinds of devotees: Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttamadhikari. So most of the people naturally are going to be Kanishtadhikaris. Maximum will be Kanishta. Then you'll find lesser of the Madhyama. You'll find even lesser Uttamadhikaris. Uttamadhikaris are the highest devotees, greatest devotees. They're very rare to find. So, naturally, not all, just because how do you identify a devotee by just because he wears a tilak or he wears a kantimala or he wears some dress of a devotee, salwar kameez or sari or like maybe saffron or something like that? No, that's not the real test of a devotee. Is his devotion.
So, what is the concept of curse, Prabhu? Prabhuji, if one is devotee and one is non-devotee, in that case.
Concept of a curse. Concept of a curse means what? Like what do you mean by what is your question exactly?
What happens when one curses to another? I mean, is that curse, if the say one person is cursing another person and both are devotees, in that case, if one person is cursing the other person, then what happens to the person who is cursing? He's not a god and he's not supposed to do that, right? He should show mercy or support the other person. So that's
So
what I
in Narada's case, he cursed and he cursed for the benefit of Nalaku and Manikri. He did not curse out of vengeance. Oh, you disrespected me, therefore I curse you. That was not the motive. And as a result of it, everybody benefited. You see, Nalakuir Manigriv got the mercy of Sri Krishna. So just like parents may sometimes slap the children, it is not out of envy, it is out of love. So even curse can be sometimes out of love. But if one curses out of hate, out of envy, then naturally there's going to be reaction.
that I was asking.
There's going to be reaction. And if somebody has done something to deserve the curse, then he will also get reaction. That curse itself will be a reaction.
So one who is giving and one who is receiving, both will suffer the
Depends
reaction, right?
Who's at fault? It depends on your motive. Depends on your motive and depends on what you have done.
How come Mahajan, being Mahajan, he could go in the room of these two people who were in that position? How could he see like that? I mean, why Narada went at that place?
Narada was traveling. He's a traveling preacher. He happened to be there. It was coincidence or it was God's will or it was arrangement of the Lord. We never know, but he was there at that time.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much. Hare Krishna and Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, there are two hands raised by Vinita Gandharvika.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for such a beautiful class. Very, very nice class. As usual, your classes are so nice. So many lessons to learn. So, Prabhu, you are telling by being materially less will make us humble. But when we are materially less and when we are trying to speak about humble or being low or trying to tell about this, how do I explain? Try to be as normal as simple as when we are already poor and when we are trying to explain to others, then others who are rich might say like, okay, you don't have, or you not having that ability to earn money, so that's why you are giving this kind of gap. So people try to point out us like that. So then how do we approach, I mean, how do we deal with that kind of situation?
Yeah, so you show them the scripture. Tell them that these are the words of scripture. These are not my words. These are said in the scriptures.
Very, very beautiful class, Prabhuji. Each and every point
And
was so nice.
That's why I read it out. No? I read it out. These verses, I read it out to you. These are spoken by the greatest devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam, spoken by Krishna also. So,
very nice, Prabhuji. Very practical examples you were giving, that you went to the devotee's house, how they were receiving. Yeah, these days everything is going on, but when we are very small, our parents taught us like, attend the guest first. Guest is important, and when somebody comes, we are not in our rooms, but we are in the hall in front of everyone and welcoming them. But nowadays, if somebody comes, everybody is in their own rooms.
Yeah, sometimes I think that my father was very strict with me. He used to thrash me, like, if I did things bad, and once he hit me so bad that my face went into my food. So looking back now, I think that it was good that he disciplined me like that. Thoda so sense aa gaya mere andar, little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. Because nowadays the philosophy is that pamper the children and don't break their confidence by chastising them and correcting them. It's kind of a philosophy. And I think in America, if you chastise or beat the children, they'll dial 911. Aisa kuch hai kya?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, all those things are there. So you can't really. And people have lost the art of parenting, actually. Somehow I feel because I've seen that children really don't. They're having all these problems. As you see that they're depressed, they're having mood swings. So I just observe.
if we say something also, they will try to show the example of other parents. See, look, their parents are not saying anything. Why you are only telling me?
And right, that's there. They're also right, because see, neither the children are ideal and neither are the parents ideal. Is it not? You will say that, "Arey, my wife is not like Sita," but then you are also not like Lord Ram, no? So that is also true. I mean, now the children are also learning all the wrong things at home. Children have never seen their parents going for satsang, sitting for class, calling devotees at home, serving them prasad, making charity, doing arati at home, chanting Hare Krishna. The children have never seen, then how do you expect them to learn? So that is also true. That's right. You can't just blame it on the children, because children will just do what the parents are doing, not necessarily always doing what they are saying. You may tell your children, do this, but you have to show them by doing it. So that way. Anyways, yeah. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, so I hope my voice was clear enough, because I'm a little under the weather here.
Yeah, it is good, Prabhuji. Prahlad Ananda Prabhu is one more raised hand. Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I'm the same person last time who told you about putting my cap on. It feels so cold. Thank you very much for the so beautiful class you gave. And about the money you said, and your name is appropriately Akincana Das. Yasyasti Bhakti Akincana. So I heard from Guru Maharaj that, the money we have in this life has three destinations. Right? One of them is destruction. The money will be lost. Mrityu sarvaharasya. At the last, whether the money will leave you or you will leave the money. The second destination is bhog. Bhogaisvarya prasaktananta pavritichetasam yavasyatmita buddhi samadhauta vidya. And the third one is dan, charity, using it for the owner of that real money. As Lord Sri Krishna, yat karosi dasnasi yat jihosi dadasi. So these are the three ways the money is destined to go away from you. And the best way is to use in the service of Lakshmi Narayan, Bhagavan Sri Krishna. And that will give us the perfect destination as we desire of getting out of birth and death. This was a little realization I had listening to your class, but the class was so informative and so nice that how to become humble in our life, despite whatever money this time to us come to us. As for the example of children, I raised my two children from the very first of their life by taking them every Sunday to Hare Krishna temple, from the first Sunday of their lives. And from there, although they are grown up now, still they are sticking to Krishna consciousness. So this is how, the mercy of a devotee comes to you, and you can pass on to your generations like that. So this is so good to hear, and keep satsang with Vaishnavas like you. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak, Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Yeah, so somebody is asking questions on the chat. I would like if you could ask them personally. I don't have to read it out if you all are there online. Yes? Where in Srimad Bhagavatam it is given how different modes of passion or ignorance can be overcome. So I just spoke about it. You contemplate here on these verses which I spoke on. That is the answer. Because they are symptoms of passion and ignorance. Kam, Krodh. Krodh is in the mode of ignorance. Kam is in the mode of passion. So by systematically observing these principles which I spoke about, you can give up modes of passion. Tada rajas tamo bhava kama lobha daschay. Cheta eter anavidam sthitam satve prasidati. By hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, yes, one can overcome the mode of passion. Tada rajas tamo bhava kama lobha daschay. You know that verse? The very famous verse. I'll tell you which verse number it is. 7. Yeah, the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, Srimad Bhagavad Gita 7. No, sorry. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter. Tada rajas tamo bhava kama lobha daschay cheta eter anavidham sthitam satve prasidati. Nashta prayushu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. That verse, those series of verses. Shrinvatam swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridayantastho vadrani vidunoti surit satam. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogatah bhagavat tattvijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samshayah shiyante chasya karmani drishte evatmanishvare. So by systematically studying Srimad Bhagavatam, one can attain that state of transcendence from the material modes of passion and ignorance. Yeah. And the next question is, how can we repent for the offenses at the lotus feet of Guru Maharaj? Yes. So offense is like fire. Acharya has explained. And service of the Guru is also like a fire. It's also like a fire. Both have the same quality. Just as if you are burnt by fire, they say that the ointment which you apply is also like fire. Acharyas explained. So the way to become free from the offenses is to take up to service of the Guru. If you offend your Guru, beg for forgiveness and serve him. So bhakti is the solution for offenses. Both are like fire. Even bhakti is like fire. It will burn all the offenses. So Supriya Tarlekar. So that was a question by Riya Raizada. Supriya Tarlekar. Modes like anger, lust, calm, violence, selfishness, greed, degradation of bhakti, ego, etc. What is this? Is that a question? Oh, that's the continuation of the same question. I see. Okay. Jyoti Takne. Prabhuji, it is not mental status comes to comfort state. Quick. It doesn't like to be at discomfort at all. How austerity should be taken care practically, Prabhuji. Especially when Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru is not their guide. I didn't understand this question. It is not very clear.
Prabhuji, I am here. My question is, you said about the mental austerities, right? In the modern age, we have so many facilities, and we cannot even say stay out of the comfort, right? We are in the facility zone, and the mind, even if we try to put it in the austerity zone, it will come too quickly in a comfort zone. Means no matter how much we try. So how that is possible to be taken care? I mean, what are the practical tools that we can apply, and at
Little
least
by little. Start in a small way and you can attain great progress. Begin gradually. Everything has to be done gradually, not all of a sudden. That is the method. Little by little. Small steps, baby steps. That's how you increase your capacity to perform austerities. And you don't have to separately do austerities. Aradhito yadi hari tapasa tathakim. Na aradhito yadi hari tapasa tathakim. You know that verse, yes? Famous verse. It says that if you are worshipping Krishna, there is no need of doing austerities separate. But if you are not worshipping Krishna, then what is the use of your austerity? Aradhito yadi hari tapasa tathakim. Where is the austerity? Krishna consciousness is blissful. Just your bhakti itself is enough. There is no need for doing anything else. Like, one Prabhupada's disciple was fasting one day. Prabhupada offered him some prasad or something he was not eating. And Prabhupada said, why aren't you eating? So today is not Ekadashi. So he said, no, I am just fasting today. I've decided to fast today. So Prabhupada said, it's not necessary. There is enough austerity in our movement. You don't need to concoct your own austerities. On Ekadashis, you fast. When it's not Ekadashi, you eat. So today is not Ekadashi. You are being offered prasad, you eat. So, there's no need of doing any separate austerities. Just do the same principles that Prabhupada has told us. Associate with devotees, like-minded devotees. Read Bhagavad Gita. Listen to Srimad Bhagavatam. Chant your prescribed round. Offer your food to the Lord. Take prasad. And visit the dhams on a yearly basis. Go for 10-15 days. Stay in the dham. Do parikrama. That's all. These are the austerities you're supposed to do. And it's not that you have to balance. Krishna says in the Gita that yukta ahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu. That you have to balance recreation, work, everything should be balanced. You can't immediately just give up. Arey, ye maya hai, give it up. You may not be able to do that. So you have to balance. Balance karo sab. Don't go into extremes. And gradually. Shanai uparamed buddhya dhriti grihitaya. What is that verse in the Bhagavad Gita? Shanai uparamed. Google it. That step by step, we have to elevate ourselves. We have to purify our minds. Shanai uparamed buddhya dhriti grihitaya. So that is how you do it. Does that make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, so that is the verse. Atma samstham manah kritva na kinchit api chintayet. 6.25. Dhyan yoga. So read that verse. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction. And thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. So Shanai Shanair. Hare Krishna. Anything else? और किसी का कोई प्रश्न है? Yes, it seems that's the end.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. If nobody have any questions, we can end the call here, Prabhuji, with your permission. Thank you so
Sure.
much, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Hare Krishna. Dandavat
Thank
pranam
you so
to all
much,
of you.
Prabhuji, for enlightening us today. We are very grateful to you and we look forward to your association again and again in the future. Let's pay our obeisances to Prabhuji. Grand
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the beautiful class.
Please, Akincana Krishna
Thank
Prabhuji.
you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful
Jai.
class.
Jai, Jai.
Gauranga,
Thank you
Nityananda.
so much,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
For your association.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for